Adversity and challenges. Yes, that is today's topic. I am super excited that you guys are joining me today. My name's Angela Brown, and I'm here to share with you some ideas that we're going to unpack from the insights and wisdom of Omuugn. This is a book that we're going through together. We're visiting this session every Saturday morning for about an hour. And today we're talking about challenges, the challenges of life and how inevitable they are. But joining me today, I am so excited that we have the author himself, Omuugn, to unpack some of these ideas for us and to share with us his wisdom and insights live. Please help me welcome today our very special guest, Omuugn. How do you navigate a situation where, let's say, for example, in this particular scenario, I'm acknowledging that change needs to happen and I'm willing to change, but the other person in the relationship is not willing to change at all? How do we navigate situations like that where we're dealing with constant frustration or constant conflict or constant grinding of nerves when we're around each other?
Well, social interactions are some of the more difficult challenges to work with because you're not only dealing with your belief system, you're dealing with someone else's belief system. You're not only dealing with your habits and your way of doing things, but the other person has their habits and their way of doing things. And so one of the keys there is communication. I have a situation with someone, and I have found that when we use words, we really have a different definition of what those words mean. And so when I'm trying to convey something, I'm trying to do it in a certain way, but I can discern very quickly that they're somewhere else. They believe something totally different than I do. So you need to define words, you need to find common ground, you need to get on the same page. And that's difficult to do sometimes because sometimes people, they don't want to open up and share really what they believe. Or a lot of times people don't even know what they believe. A lot of people react to everything instead of proact, instead of decide what they want to do. All of the challenges that come along, they're just reacting to them all of the time. And those people are hard to deal with because they're not coming from a foundational place. They're coming from a reactionary place, an emotional place. And so all of that has to be taken into consideration. But if you can create a situation, a scenario where there's common ground and foundational concepts at work, then people can progress. Like in a family situation, it's really nice if you learn together, if you have study classes and meetings together and family councils where you meet frequently and let everybody know what the plan is, get feedback from everyone. You start thinking alike and working together, and it's a lot easier to go through life that way. If you're in a workplace and a different situation develops, sometimes you don't have that resource of learning together at your disposal. So you have to be able to flow with whatever is happening in the best way. If it's possible, learning and growing together resolves a lot of issues, and it makes our challenges kind of fun. If the people that you're around are encouraging, and if they're positive people, and if they have good, positive attitudes, you share what you're doing with them, and they will encourage you to be successful. The idea is you need to come from a solid place and communicate, and people need to know what you're doing. Social interactions are delicate because people are coming from so many different places. We have to be tolerant. We have to be patient. We have to be loving. We have to be persevering. A lot of times things will happen, but not when we think they will happen or when we want them to happen. So sometimes a process has to process, and we have to be patient with that.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I know that in this particular scenario, I've had to make a conscious choice because I accept change, but I don't want to become obsessed by it. And I don't want it to define me. I don't want the challenge to define me. And so being very conscientious of this is a challenge for me. And my husband is directly involved because he's kind of the go-between person between me and his relative that we're not so great with each other. And his relative, no offense, is a lovely person, but not for me. Our energies are toxic to each other. and that we're completely opposite kinds of people. And he's the middleman. And so I've had to be very conscientious of the fact that he still has a relationship with that person. And I want him to. We're not compatible. And I want to be very respectful to the fact that I don't want to say anything that will taint his relationship with that person. And at the same time, I've been very crystal clear that I have to have boundaries in order for me to be healthy and mentally well. Well, my question is then, how do you keep from being obsessed about a situation that you can't fix?
Well, you can always do something. We talked about environments and the structures that exist in the environments. And if you're in an environment that you don't want to be in, you have to ask yourself the question, what can I do in this environment to make this environment more preferable for me? For example, you can send someone a thank you note or a note of appreciation or something. Maybe you could send flowers. Just say, I was thinking about you today and I wanted you to have a happy day without saying anything else or being involved in a relationship. The person knows that you're thinking about them in a positive way. And if someone knows that someone else loves them and appreciates them, they will have more of a tendency to respond favorably and interact with that person in a different way. Whereas if a person is met with hostility, if you send them a note that might say, I was thinking of you today and it almost ruined my day. And you don't have to say anything that dramatic. You can just say a little negative thing and it will have a profound impact. So we have to be very careful of the words that we use and make sure that what we're conveying is love and appreciation. You can always find something good in someone. You can always do that. I do know some people that it's challenging, but you can find something good in people. And you want to emphasize that and try to change the environment by changing the structure that you put into it. The only thing you really have control over is what you are going to do. You can't control what the other person is going to do. And if a person is a reactionary person, if they get a kind note from you or a bouquet of flowers, the reaction to that will be a positive reaction rather than a negative reaction. Whenever two people come together in any way, there is an exchange of energy. And if the energy is positive on both sides, it amplifies into a really positive situation. If it's positive and negative, the negative wants to draw the positive out because they're lacking positive energy. If you get two negative energies together, that's not a good situation because that will also amplify the negative energy. So you just need to be careful with people and relationships. Always put positive energy into a relationship and let the reaction be a positive one rather than a negative one. That's about all you can do. But you can change the environment. There's always something you can do.
I have absolutely thrived off of this conversation. I've learned a lot about accepting challenges in a way that helps us grow and not stagnates our progress. So I absolutely love that. I want to encourage everybody that's watching this now or on the replay that you leave your challenges in the notes below. Let us know what you're working on and keep us posted on what it is you're working through. I absolutely love these conversations. So please join us again when we go through the insights and wisdom of Omuugn. And like I say, I love having Omuugn here to unpack these ideas and concepts with us. So thank you so much for your time today. This was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you guys again next week. Have a great week.